I became
this sober vet.
Don't live, don't live, don't live.
Our mission is to normalize sobriety with veterans who are using and abusing substances in a harmful, self-medicating way. Welcome, world. I am Joe Urick. This is episode 3 of This Sober Vet, and I am super excited about today's guest. But first, Dr. T, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the welcome. Feeling good. I'm feeling full from Thanksgiving, and I can't complain. I can't
Nice.
complain about it.
Between
How
me and
about
you
yourself?
and all of our
Yeah.
listeners, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because I love to eat.
Yeah.
I feed my face like
Yeah.
it's my job. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
I
listen to this.
agree.
So my wife makes a dish, and tell me if you ever heard of it. It's called pineapple stuffing. Have you indulged?
I have not heard of
Me
pineapple
neither until I met her.
stuffing.
So it's like her
Uh-huh.
family's recipe, and I freaking love it. And the only thing that gets me down is all year long, I'm like, honey, we're adults. We could buy these ingredients anytime. Why do you only make this at Thanksgiving? She won't make it any other time. So that
It's
forces
special.
me. It's very special.
special.
So that forces
Yeah.
me every family event. I brief everyone.
Yeah.
I'm like, this year the pineapple stuffing is not that good, in hopes that they don't take any, but they house it. So I get like one serving until next
Wow.
year. It drives me nuts.
That sounds like a pretty good dish. I have never heard of that before, Joe.
It is phenomenal. I'm usually not a big
Mm-hmm.
stuffing fan, but the pineapple stuffing, it's bussin', as my son would say.
It's bussin'.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm going to
good
jump right
deal.
in. Today's guest, we are having somewhat of a Echo Battery 343 11th Brigade reunion. And before we get to her, I just want to tell a brief deployment story. So one day I had just come off a 24-hour shift out of the CP. I was working with Sergeant Espinoza, rest in peace. And I got back to the tent. Everyone in my tent was at the far end. This was when we were in Tent City, outside of Kuwait City. And everyone in my tent was at the far end of the tent, all huddled around. We had this like igloo cooler where we had caught a camel spider, and he was like our tent mascot. But for some reason this day, everyone was like huddled around in that corner. So I go back to that corner. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like, we found a scorpion. We're trying to get the camel spider and the scorpion to fight. I was like, oh, snap. I was like, where'd you find the scorpion? And like Wheeler, remember our medic Wheeler? He pointed
Yeah.
to the far end of the tent, literally above my cot. He was like, it was climbing on the inside wall right there. I was like, bruh. So
No.
the rest of the deployment, I couldn't sleep because like anytime I was sleeping, if I felt something on me, I'd wake up and brush everything off my whole body thinking there's like a scorpion crawling on me. So that literally ruined my sleep for the rest of the deployment. It was crazy.
Not the entire deployment. Yes.
Well, luckily that was
Oh.
like towards the back end of it, but yeah, like I
Okay.
just it skeeved me out, and because I just had nightmares of scorpions crawling on me. And you know what? I
that's
don't
not good.
remember who won the fight. I don't think they fought. I think they just kind of went to their respective corners and were like, "Nah, we're not fighting. Like I don't have beef with him."
That is,
Yeah.
that is funny.
So that brings me to our guest again, Echo Battery reunion. We haven't seen this person in 21 years ish. Yes, 21 years. So I would like to welcome Tiffany Blickenstaff. How are you, Blick?
I'm
Tiff.
good, brother. I'm good.
Woo.
It's so nice to be here. Thanks for having me, man. I almost forgot about that story you just told. I was
Right.
like, oh, yeah, I remember that. We forget things.
Absolutely, because it's so long ago. Now, Tiff, you were a 14 Tango, right? Just like me?
Yep.
Okay, I
Safe
thought
to
so.
tune, brother. Launcher dog.
That's right, yeah. And didn't we get in about the same time?
I think so. I joined in 2000,
Right, so did I. I joined August 2000.
June.
Okay, so
Yep.
yeah, we probably got to the
Yep.
duty station around the same time.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I remember going in field problems with you and being in the tent and having fun, and yeah, we have a lot of backstory. So speaking of backstories, what did get you to join the Army?
I don't know. I guess it's I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be part of something big.
Okay.
Coming from well, I was born in Maryland, small town, lived in small town PA.
Which part in Maryland?
Born in Hagerstown, lived throughout Washington, Frederick County. So I know you're in DC, correct?
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you where I'm at. I'm in Jarrettstown, West Virginia, which is by Martinsburg.
Okay, yep. kind of the
And
scenario. Hmm.
Hagerstown is 30 minutes away.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Small world.
Small world.
Nice.
Yep.
So did you join straight from high school? Like, did you sign up while you were in high school or?
No, actually, I got out of high school and kind of just worked with my dad a little bit, laying floors and stuff. And then I was actually 20 when I joined, or just
Ah,
about to be 20. So I was a little bit older, you
gotcha.
know,
Okay. Nice. And then what made you pick Patriot Missile of all things?
because if I could take it back, because I said I don't want a desk job.
Okay.
And you know how they do. Well, it certainly is a desk job. I'm like, oh yeah, well now I have a permanent disability from it, but hey,
They forget that part. They
Yeah.
forget about those permanent
you know,
disabilities. Yep.
being a female, I mean, I'm sure you remember I was like the only female in our platoon for a good while,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and most of you guys are pretty cool, you know, hey, Blick, you got that? You know, carrying all this heavy stuff like 10 pole bags and stuff, like, yeah, I got it. And then I screwed up my shoulder, but hey, you know,
Oh,
the actually it's been a blessing for the rest of my life because I get medical care through the VA.
Oh,
So
good.
absolutely.
There you
I'll
go.
deal with the bum
Yes.
shoulder, you know.
Nice.
Absolutely. But you were a badass all the way through.
Absolutely. So, Blake, so what was your poison of choice?
Alcohol.
Hmm. You and I
Yeah.
Yep.
both. And when did that
You
start?
know,
Prior to enlisting or?
no, actually, I think the first time I drank, I was like 18, and it would not feel good the next day, that's for sure. I know I did party it up in the army with you guys, some in the barracks,
Mm-hmm.
but that was actually like nothing compared to what was to come.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, it
Mm,
really
Okay.
wasn't because I didn't do it like all the time, you know, and for me, I think anxiety has been the biggest thing in my life where
mhm.
that I've struggled with. I've been an anxious child. Anxious children tend to be anxious adults.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As you know, Sergeant Thomas, Dr. Thomas,
Uh-huh. Or
mental illness
Teresa. Yep.
and Teresa, addiction,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know, go hand in hand. And, you know, when I got out, we went back to small town PA, a little town called Fairfield near Gettysburg.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
did, you know, getting out, even though it wasn't in that long, the adjustment is weird. I'm sure you guys remember. You know, it's very weird.
Mhm.
You know, even the
Mhm.
small things like using black ink only, like, you know, like this,
Yeah.
I can't use this pen, it's blue.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Right.
just the little things like, you know, so I got a job at a restaurant. I was a waitress and it had a bar, and, you know, I started going to school full time, and, you know, and I just anxiety, man, like, and then, you know, that bar at the restaurant I worked in, it's just, it was, what, how old was I? 23, 4, something like that.
Mhm.
And, just started getting that shift drink, started getting to know people. And I never drank and drove, and you know, yets and nevers, man, yets and nevers.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mhm.
I never got a
Mhm.
DUI, I never lost everything, you know, yets and
Right.
nevers.
Right.
So I ended up, you know, when I drank, I just felt calm, you know, that whole
Yeah.
liquid courage, you
Mhm.
know, and then it just progressed. My drinking career wasn't as long as some others, but I went downhill pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
so the anxiety, in essence, you know, alcohol screws up your central nervous system. So panic attacks, but then drinking to calm down, but then an alcohol withdrawal is like panic attack times a million. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just
Mhm.
insanity, you know, it really is
Yeah.
insanity. Uh, you know, and I still somehow finished college and everything and had different jobs, and then I ended up drinking and driving, and so, oh God, I'm never doing that again, and then do it again.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and then tolerance, Joe. I remember you said, heard you say in your story
Yes.
about tolerance.
Right.
You know, you go from light beer to strongest, cheapest, bang for your buck. You know, I suck at math, but when it came to price and alcohol content,
You became a
really good.
pro, right?
I was
Genius.
like,
Yeah.
man, see, it wasn't even about taste. It's all it anymore. Like I
Mm.
used to get certain brands and things, and it didn't matter at that point because as your tolerance grows, the more you need. So the stronger you get,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mhm.
it's you know, we drink for the effect.
Right.
Drink and use for the effect.
Yep.
For the fact.
Uh, yeah.
And
So
Tiff, can I ask you a quick question? When you say anxiety, it sounds like what you're talking about was you were dealing with some social anxiety, just being
Oh
in
yeah.
social settings, having to talk to new people. That, oh my gosh, here are these people, more people, more people. And was that pretty much what you were dealing with when we talk about anxiety in the social
Just
settings?
anxiety in general,
Hmm.
just in general, really, just
Hmm.
the mind. It's very powerful,
Yeah.
uh, irrational fears, really, just
Hmm.
taking the worst of things, overthinking. Alcoholics and addicts are
Yes.
really good at overthinking, really good at
Okay.
overthinking. That's how it all started, really, and it just progressed from there to getting kicked out of places I lived, staying in another place. I ended up homeless. This is when I was 34,
Wow.
35.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
Okay.
I slept on the ground, which is not much different than the army, so I guess it prepared me for that.
Right.
I slept in a park. I was very sick. There was no fun in drinking anymore. It was about necessity because,
Hmm.
I would wake up before daylight in withdrawal,
Wow.
very, very sick,
Mm.
sweating, shaking, heart racing, nauseous because I wasn't eating either. Um, so just very, very, alcohol itself is very dangerous, but it's socially acceptable and it's legal. So
Right.
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
people don't tend to look at alcohol as bad as other drugs, but
Mm-hmm.
alcohol
Hmm.
is a drug. And I am a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Um,
Okay.
I should throw out my sobriety date is April 15th,
Nice.
All right.
2016.
All
Okay. There you
right.
So
go.
I've been sober for 8+ years,
That's amazing.
one
Yes.
one
Great.
day at a time.
Yes.
This lady had tried to sponsor me that had met in a meeting because I got a DUI in 2014. I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
That
Okay.
wasn't my
Okay.
bottom, not near my bottom. People think, oh, well, you get a
Mm.
DUI, you should get some help. But no, I had still had 2 more years of
Okay.
research and development to do in my alcohol career.
Mm.
But this lady had tried to help me, and she's now my sponsor. Her name is
Hmm.
Marianne Furness, highly intelligent woman. She didn't get sober to her 50s,
Okay.
which
Wow.
is rare because usually people are done for by then, really.
Hmm.
Probably dead or whatever. But she worked for NASA and all this stuff. But she had tried to help me. But I remember the night of it was a gift of desperation. The alcohol withdrawal was just. I'd rather have the flu, to be honest with you,
Right.
Mm.
um, than
Yeah.
ever feel like that again. And this is good for me to speak because this is helping me. This is keeping it fresh for me.
Good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I called her the night of April 14th, 2016, from the park where I was living, existing.
Mm.
And I said, I'm gonna die. I was dead in every way, but physically at that point. So she and this Village of Women, and my grand sponsor, her sponsor,
Hmm.
rest in peace. She passed away a few months ago. But this Village of Women came together for little old drunken me and got me
Yeah.
a scholarship to go into detox for a few days.
Oh, good.
I had been put on
Awesome.
phenobarbital because so I didn't have seizures and things like that.
Hmm.
And then shortly after, I went into a recovery house, and it was weird and hard. But principles before personalities.
Okay.
I like
It's one
that.
thing I
Nice.
learned
Okay.
doing that.
Yeah.
Principles before personalities is super important. And you know, and when you hear people's stories, if anyone out there is listening does attend a meeting, I highly suggest it. That's what's worked for me. Try
Hmm.
different ones because you got to look for the similarities, not the differences.
Mm.
Right.
Okay.
We can't compare, oh, well, I never lost everything. I never had a DUI. I never this. We're a lot more alike than people realize.
Hmm.
And in recovery, I started seeing a camaraderie just like I did in the service.
Nice.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You got
because
to
you guys all
Yeah.
be,
suffer together.
Yeah.
yeah, and we
Yeah.
all have so much in common. Once we just get, you got to have connection. you
Hmm.
know um you have to have connection. I couldn't do this alone. I tried so many times to control it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm only going to drink on weekends. I'm only going to drink beer. I can't drink wine at the bar because they drink it too fast, so I'll drink wine at home and get trashed by myself. I was a
Hmm.
blackout fall down drunk. I've
Yeah.
lost a lot of time, you know, and I've lost a lot of friends to this disease. This thing does not
Yeah.
discriminate, and it wants us
Mhm.
dead.
Hmm.
I've lost
Yeah.
a lot of friends in the last 8 years in my entire life. And sometimes I have what maybe like a survivor's guilt, but
Mhm.
uh, my sponsor always tells me, you're here for a reason. You can honor them with your own recovery.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that the fact that you're still here and you're sober,
Yes.
that is amazing. And I'm sure they're looking down like, look, Tiff's doing it. Like that,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's absolutely
Absolutely.
huge. I'm very proud of you, Tiffany. That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too, Joe.
I appreciate that. So, but I
Yeah.
got lucky, I feel like, in my sobriety journey because I could relate to a lot of your story. Number one, going to the store, I literally would just scan what's a high, 9.5%. That's what I'm drinking today.
Yeah.
Didn't care what it
12.
was. Yeah, 12, whatever it may be. And then it got to the point where I would switch to liquor because beer wasn't doing it quick enough. So my liquor choice was SoCo. I like Southern Comfort. And then I got
Mm.
really ballsy. I started going to the liquor store. Then I'd hit up Wawa, get a 20 ounce of Coke, mix it right at the gas pump, throw the liquor bottle out, and then be drinking and driving. And that's absolutely horrible. Luckily, I never
Yeah.
got a DUI. I have no idea why, but yeah, I just got way too comfortable with feeling
Mhm.
that buzz, and that a buzz it's a liar. It makes you feel good. It makes you like,
Mhm.
yes, let me get the next drink. And
Yeah.
it's like you said, Tiff, I've wasted a lot of time where I could have been very productive and doing something good for other people, but here I was
Mhm.
just self-medicating and just riding that buzz in such an illegal way. Like I'm so
Yeah.
thankful I never got a DUI because for my business I drive truck, I do junk removal. We drive all day. Like I literally would have lost my
Yeah.
business, but here I was drinking and driving. Like it makes no sense.
Yep.
Wow.
And my thing was like, I remember working at the Gettysburg Hotel, and my ride home was like not even 10 minutes, but I had to crack a beer open.
Hmm.
Before
Thinking
getting
back on it,
there.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I had to drink that beer before I even got home.
Right.
Like that's
Mhm.
how powerful addiction is.
Hmm.
Yes.
It makes you selfish, manipulative,
Mhm.
uh, just all kinds of things, and sometimes, I think back and my brain goes to the past and, oh, I hurt my sister and I hurt so and so and I did this and that and then and I gotta stop, we shall not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can't I gotta know that sober Tiff wouldn't do those things and doesn't do those things.
Right.
Right.
And the gifts of recovery, man, are just I'm so grateful. Not just, the material things back like work. I have my own like small business where I do house painting and
Oh,
Good
restore
good.
furniture
deal.
and woodwork and stuff, and I love it.
Yeah. I see some of
Outstanding.
that on Facebook. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
For me, moving around, it's good for my brain. It really is. I love working with my hands and seeing a result. Even though I have a degree in criminal justice, go figure. We never know where we're going to end up in life.
Right. Right.
But not just the material things like getting a car and a license and work and paying your bills, and it's the other things for me, like trust.
Mm,
Like
that's huge.
Yeah.
my sister's kids can come spend the night at Aunt Tiff's,
Nice. That's awesome.
and
Yes.
I gotta hold on to these gifts because just because I have 8+ years doesn't mean I'm cured. There is no cure for
Mhm.
this.
No.
I'm not
Mhm.
recovered. I'm in recovery. It's a
Recovery.
daily reprieve.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um, because complacency, it's very easy to get complacent.
Hmm.
I don't need
Okay.
to go to meeting. I don't need to, I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. It's very easy to do, and it's very easy to forget where I
Mhm.
was
Right.
8 years ago,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but, I had to do a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's
Yeah.
not always easy, but, people, places, and things, they have to change.
J-Dog is your local veteran owned and operated junk removal company. We do everything from a single item pickup to a full estate cleanout. We also do small demo, sheds, playgrounds, jacuzzis. Our pricing is based on volume. Estimates are always free. We also do our best to keep items out of the landfill. We have a warehouse in Willow Street where we take repurposed items. There we are able to donate to veterans in need, and the last Saturday of the month, we open it up to the public garage sale style so everyone can enjoy these items. Put some local veterans to work. Call J-Dog today. 844-GET-JDOG or 484-467-1424.
What motivates you to stay sober each day, Tiff?
because of what I have today. I
Yeah.
mean, getting sober is the easy part. It's staying sober is
Mm-hmm.
where the work is, and to be of service. That's super important. You got to give it away to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had
Mhm.
sponsees, I have my sponsor, I have a network. Just, I don't want to go back to that. And for me, I feel like to drink again is to die.
Right.
Honestly,
Mm.
Yep.
I really
Mhm.
do. And you got to play the tape through if anyone's out there struggling or they're early in sobriety, which is super hard. I know it takes 18 months for the brain to rewire from alcoholism, at least.
Mhm.
So you're going through a lot of emotions. You're on pink clouds, you fall off, and then this and that, and
Mm-hmm.
you want to give up, but don't, because it will get better. Actually, it doesn't get better. We get better.
We get better.
That is
Yeah.
something my grant
Yeah.
sponsor said. It doesn't get better. We get better. Life is still going to happen,
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
but it's
Right.
how we, awareness. It's how we react. I've learned
Mhm.
so much in recovery, and to stay sober. I mean, why would I want to throw this away?
Exactly. Amen to
Yeah.
that. Absolutely.
I don't miss drinking. Sometimes I do. I mean, I'm an alcoholic. It's going to happen. I have fleeting thoughts, but the obsession is gone.
The
Yes.
obsession. The
The
Yeah.
obsession.
obsession
Yeah.
is gone, and that is
Mhm.
such a gift. Such a
Absolutely.
gift.
Mhm.
So I have a question, Tiff. So at the
Yeah.
point when you were homeless, what was your mentality? Like, were you only focused on the next drink, or was there a time where you looked up and you're like, "What am I doing? Like, this has to stop," or were you just focused on that cycle of drinking, withdrawal, drink, withdrawal?
Well, I mean, the obsession was there before the homelessness. Obviously, I wouldn't have ended up homeless. I
Right.
feel like,
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
in dangerous situations too, man. I'd wake
Yeah.
up from a blackout behind a gas station or, God knows where. But
Wow.
yeah, like during the homelessness, it was that it was so depressing. I didn't want to live, I didn't want to be there, obviously, but I also still needed to drink. It was a necessity, like I said at that point.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And then what finally got you out of that? Like, did you walk into a rehab, or you started going to meetings, and that's when you found the sponsors so you could go to rehab, or?
That's like I said, this lady, Marianne, who
Mhm.
is my sponsor currently, she had tried to help me before I was even homeless, but I kept screwing
Mm,
up. I kept relapsing. And then that night, I believe it was my higher power of God, you're going to die. You know what I mean? You
Mm.
are going to die. Alcohol withdrawal can kill you, as it said.
Yeah.
And I called her. And like I said, that village of women showed up for me.
nice.
And they got me into the detox and then into the recovery house. And I stayed there for almost 2 years, actually. And
Almost
then
2 years. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
at first I was like, I'm gonna stay here for 3 months. I can't do this and blah blah blah. And they suggest a
Uh-huh.
year, and I get it now. You got to build a network. You got to get a little time under your belt. Although time helps, but
Mhm.
one of my sponsors' biggest sayings is it's about quality, not quantity.
Mhm.
Sometimes my quality recovery is just crap, and
Hmm.
someone with 30 days has a better quality than I do.
Right.
So
Mhm.
that awareness is key. You know?
What kept you? You said 2 years. What kept you there for that length of time?
I just took it day by day. At a certain point,
Okay.
instead of rushing to get out and get back on my own, you just end up living a day at a time and
Okay.
just going with the flow. And then when you're ready, you're ready. And I'm glad I did it. I don't regret it at all.
Good.
You
No, that
know,
sounds like a very important
Absolutely.
part of your recovery. Now, my question
Yeah.
is: so when I was early on, I started seeing a therapist, and my just initial go to is if something good happened, I wanted to drink. If something stressful happened, I wanted to drink. So anything, I was just my default was, hey, let's celebrate or let's mask this. So my therapist said, day by day like you did, and if you really wanted to drink, just say I'm gonna make it through today and I'll drink tomorrow. And that was huge. I relied on that heavily. Are there any like tips and tricks that you could tell listeners who are currently going through it or early in sobriety and how to stay sober?
what they say is play the tape through. If I drink today, how am I going to feel tomorrow?
Okay,
What's
nice.
going to
Mhm.
happen? I'm going to start over. I'm going to feel incredibly guilty. Sometimes people relapse after 20 years, and nothing happened. What happened is they stopped working it. They stopped doing the legwork. And like I said, sometimes my recovery is not quality. But then when someone asks you to do something like this, you have to say yes.
Absolutely.
What I could advise is just like, my goal is, they say a day at a time. You could say an hour at a time. The next 5 minutes. You think you'll be okay in the next 5 minutes? Probably.
Right.
My
Mm-hmm.
goal is my pillow tonight.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal. You got to keep it so simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
said, really good at overthinking. You got to keep it simple. Baby steps. You didn't screw up your life in a day. You're not going to fix it in a day.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. You said, it was anxiety that really kind of got you to drink. And how are you dealing with anxiety today?
Well, first and foremost, my sobriety has to come first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever you put in front of your sobriety, you will lose.
Mm.
That's another saying.
Nice.
And it's
Okay.
very important. Staying sober is obviously healthier for my mind, body, and spirit, which it
Mm-hmm.
is a 3-part disease. I work on it. I work with my hands, like I said, that helps me. Being isolated is not good. I get my exercise in with my work, all that ladder climbing and stuff. That definitely helps. Staying
Yeah,
connected. There is nothing wrong with outside help.
Mm-hmm.
I
absolutely.
do, and some people, in meetings might just be strictly hardcore AA, but there's nothing wrong with outside help, which I
Mm-hmm.
have thought that too. But I know the feeling will pass. They say that too. This too shall pass,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
does. But one of my biggest sayings, and I'm pretty sure I heard this in a meeting somewhere, when I start feeling some kind of way, just some kind of way, no matter what it
Mm-hmm.
is, that's not a good kind of way. I move a muscle and change a thought. I don't know if you guys have heard that before.
No,
Okay.
elaborate.
Move a muscle, change a thought. Get busy doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Call
Okay.
someone. Start cleaning your house. Take a walk. Get on a project. Anything. And
Mm-hmm.
then suddenly, those thoughts, kind of go away.
Yeah, you kind of get past it. One thing I was surprised about early in my sobriety is you guys both know me. I was always very outgoing, confident, and everything. As soon as I got
Uh-huh.
sober, my self confidence dropped to zero. Like
Drop.
I didn't know who I
Mm-hmm.
was. I didn't have that shield of alcohol anymore. So I was like, I felt totally exposed.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it was very hard for me to kind of maneuver problems because I didn't know what was going to happen when something bad was facing me because I didn't have alcohol to rely on. But through conquering each problem one at a time, whether big or small, through getting over it and then going wow, that really wasn't that bad. Like now that I'm facing things and pushing through them, that kind of helped
Yeah.
build my confidence up. And now 2.5 years in, my confidence is higher now than it ever was, no matter how drunk I got singing on a bar, karaoke,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like my confidence now is so much better because I know I don't need anything to get through these
Yeah.
hard times. Like I would rely on my wife for stuff or even my friends where if I was really frustrated and didn't know what to do. But for the most part, it
Mm-hmm.
was just these little wins that now I'm standing on this mountain of little wins. So now I'm like, you know what? Throw something at me. What's up? Like I don't need alcohol isn't even a factor now of when I'm facing these hardships because I
Mm-hmm.
already know I could beat them without alcohol. And that was big for me because again, I didn't realize I was going to have to rebuild Joe Yorick after stop drinking. I just figured life would go on, but no, that was probably the toughest
Mm-hmm.
part, and that's what I never want to have to do again because that was very difficult.
Mhm.
Are you or do you know a veteran who is struggling with substance abuse that could use some motivation? Have them tune in. Look, they won't change until they're ready to, but if we could cause a crack in the dam, it doesn't hurt to listen. If you are a sober veteran that would like to share your story in hopes to inspire others, please contact us at thissobervet.com. Show notes and more info could be found at thissobervet.com, and be sure to check us out on social media. We'd love to connect with you.
How do you celebrate milestones in your recovery? Like you said, April's coming around,
Well,
another
I'm
year.
going to focus on my pillow
Nice.
today.
Mm-hmm. I love
Today,
that.
that's my goal.
I love that.
Uh-huh.
April is, it's, I don't know, what month is it? December already? Geez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do celebrate in AA and also in NA. They celebrate the chip system here in North Carolina anyway. There's the white surrender chip, 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, one whole year. Some
Yeah.
do 18 months, and then it's just a year after. Like I said, just try to stay in today. It's not easy because not every day is easy.
No, not at all.
Mhm. Mhm.
This too shall pass, and it
Hmm.
really does.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I don't want to drink. Today I don't want to drink,
Good.
and
And
I
that's
Yeah.
a
don't have
beautiful
to.
thing, right?
It really is, brother. It really is.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, grateful to be an alcoholic. I used to hear people say I'm a grateful alcoholic, and I'm like, why would you be grateful to have this problem? But because
Mhm.
of what I've learned, I would have never learned these tools
Hmm.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my life.
I'm grateful, number one, that I was alcoholic, and number two, that I have such a good support system. Like, because I've leaned on my family, on my friends in ways that I've never had before, and they all showed up. They all stood strong for me,
Yes.
and that made me go like, wow, like if they see something in me that makes them want to change how they're treating me in a positive way, then I must be worth it. Like this journey is worth it.
Yes, and if there's people out there, they're listening to this, and you're new and you're trying, and just don't give up because like you are worth it. And that is one of the things, we beat
Yes.
ourselves up. And sometimes, like I said, I still go there to the past, like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this and that and the other. And it's like, dude, you gotta let it go. You are worth it. We are worth it. And when these
Mhm.
good things were happening in my life, especially early on, and even still today, sometimes I'm like, what bad is gonna happen?
Hmm. Right.
Like I don't
Mhm.
deserve this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
embrace it. Embrace it.
Hmm.
You are
Yeah.
worth it. We
Yeah.
deserve good in our lives.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And positivity breeds positivity because when you start feeling
Exactly.
guilty
Mhm.
about what you did and you can't change, that's a horrible rabbit hole that you could quickly go down. But what's
It
the
Yes.
is.
point? Like, what's done is done. Like, let's move forward, focus on the positive.
Yep.
Give yourself grace. I tell
Mm.
a lot of my
Exactly.
clients that to give yourself grace. You're human.
That's good.
We are all
Hmm.
human,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
And we're not perfect. We're not robots. We're not going to be perfect. We're
Nope.
fallible.
Hmm.
But so give yourself grace each and every day, and you're going to make it. You're going to make it each day.
And one thing that I see as a common denominator now that we're on episode 3 is you have to find a good support system. You have to
Yep.
find a village.
Exactly.
Like you said, those ladies came through for you. Like that seems to be the ongoing thing and never let up. Never let off the gas of sobriety. You always have to constantly be thinking that or you get complacent and then bad things
Hmm.
could happen, right?
Yep. Stop thinking you can do it yourself and you can control it, and just stop. That's just so much work.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Let others
Hmm.
in, man. Share your shit. Excuse my
Yeah.
language,
Yes.
but
No, you're right.
Yeah.
let it out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hold all that in, And then, the acronym for HOPE:
I don't. What is it?
hold on, pain ends.
Oh,
Hold
look at that.
on, pain
I'm writing
ends.
that
I
down.
like that.
And that's
I
me, how
like
much
that.
I've learned. But
Yes.
yeah, it does. You're going to have pain in life. It's part of life. But I don't have to
Hmm.
drink over it.
Nope.
I don't. And that's like the
Yes.
biggest gift ever, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
But Tiff, I love that. Hold on, pains ends. I wrote that down. I'm going to use that. That's a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah, man,
acronym.
use it.
Yes, me too.
I love
Me
that.
too.
Very nice.
I'm just saying that, if I can do this, whoever's listening, you can too. I promise you, it is worth it. It is worth it.
Yes.
Think of
Hmm.
what you can do instead of what you can't.
Hmm.
Those little steps add up to the big things. My name is Tiffany Blickenstaff, and that's how I became this sober vet.